I think perhaps a mistake I make on this channel is really only showing you guys really good games, and I don't show mistakes. I think that oftentimes mistakes aren't as interesting or as entertaining to watch, so that's mainly the reason I don't show you my just average or mediocre games. One takes are a good example, I guess, of some more average games, but these post-commentary matches, they tend to be pretty good matches that I have. Well, in this one, we're getting a mix of both. I make a massive error here at the beginning, and I want to talk about how to recover or still be useful to your team after making a huge mistake early game. So we push too aggressive into the cap, and we get ourselves caught in front of an island. Yes, this is something I'm constantly talking about when it comes to taking aggressive positions. You never want to find yourself in aggressive positions in front of islands, right? Because they block your escape route, they limit the way you can maneuver your ship, and it makes it very easy for people to hit you at reasonably long ranges. There's also a submarine here. We're got the homing torps locked onto us. We have to repair this. And yeah, we're just getting permanently lit up. This is awful. But I want to show you this game because we do come back and have a great game. Oh my goodness, that sap. Of course, DDs, right? Early game, playing this aggressive, maybe not the best idea. I'm trying to deal with the enemy Shima, support my friendly submarine, but this was ill-advised, right? Look at the map. We can see that my team isn't really around B to help me. And of course, the enemy Shima had, well, a Venezia, curve first, backing him up, that kind of thing. We do get lit on fire here, so we're going down to very, very low HP. But that's okay. We're still alive, and a destroyer that's still alive is incredibly dangerous. I think that cruisers can also be quite dangerous on lower health. Battleships, it's a little harder to be useful because you're spotted from the moon. It's more difficult to take advantage of islands. You don't have things like smoke screens like a Daring can use to farm from, for example. But after getting, well, most of my ship destroyed in B, I decided to go and support my team at A. And you can see that our team is just losing C. I would take far too long to get over to the C cap and help over there. So we need to make a push. Our team's down on ships. We are triple capped, but we can still be useful for this game. Most of our team is up at A here, so I need to support a push, or at least support our team in killing the enemy team over here. And this is really important to consider. Even though you've made a mistake early game, you've lost a lot of health, there are still things you can do to help win the game, even on lower HP. Of course, at higher tiers and on certain lines in this game, you do get heals, so staying alive and making use of those heals can be very beneficial to extending your duration in a match. But here we're going to try and farm this Colombo out. I'm not really playing all that aggressive, but what's really important here is that my friendly Shimakaze is nearby. So if he gets in a fight with their destroyer that's here, I can help out. And I'm in my smoke. I'm reasonably safe. There's potential for a radar from the Petro, but we know it's really only the DD and the Colombo that could possibly be shooting at us. That's why I chose here to smoke up. I want to put some pressure, I want to get some damage out, but I really wanted to make sure that I was able to deal some damage, support this flank, while also being able to support my friendly destroyer if he gets in a fight. But it really doesn't look like that's the case. Make sure we're keeping an eye on our smoke timer for running out, so we don't shoot after our smoke disappears and then we get spotted. That's very important and very easy to mess up on a ship like Daring that has incredibly short duration smokes. But you do get a lot of those smokes, so not the best start. 714 points for the enemy team already. It's really, really tough to come back from games like this, but we see that our team is starting to push up. They're starting to play a little more aggressively, Yamato especially, but the Incomparable is pushing as well, and this might help our Stalingrad get in the game. That radar is incredibly powerful and can be quite useful. And the other thing we can really, really think about is the enemy team overcommitting. This is something that happens all the time in this game. People overcommit when they are seemingly confident that they're going to win the game and nothing's going to go wrong. So we see a curve first pushing into the very middle of our team, and we're going to launch some single launch at him. It's possible he's distracted with his brawl. He's not really focused on maneuvering or dodging. You do have to take some risks in the later portions of games. When you're going to lose, it's time to take risks. It's not really time for the safe plays. If it works out, it works out. But it looks like we're going to miss, although some of those might be on target, especially if the curve first turns. It's very rare to land those single launch torps, but oh, it's so satisfying when you do. So that is one battleship dealt with that is overpushed into our team. Now there's a Petro that is isolated. The enemy Yu Yang that was on this flank has died, so we can play pretty aggressive here. We do have to be mindful of his radar still, but again, it's time to make some plays and really not throw caution to the wind, but you can't make the safe play when games are out of control like this. So I play aggressive, I get the cap, I push up, and then I try and get on his broadside. I know this ship's strengths include its guns, right? Both HE and the AP. So I'm trying to get on his flank, force him to consider another angle, and possibly he angles to me, because this sustained DPM hurts over time, and maybe our incomparable can get a really good hit in then. But this is the kind of thing that you got to be thinking of. These more aggressive plays, these riskier plays in the late game of matches you're going to lose. If you're going to lose anyway, you may as well go down swinging. And as far as making mistakes early game, it's that passive play in the middle of the match. It's that passive play after you've made a big mistake to really consider what you've done wrong and then look at the map and try and find a place where you can be quite effective. We've really helped our team here a lot. Even though we made a huge blunder in B early game, our team has now got control of the A-cap. We've pulled back a couple kills, and even though the enemy team is still definitely in control of this game, they've pushed extremely aggressively into our team. So if I can get some torps off, the Shimakaze maybe can get some cross torps in, there's potential here. The enemy Yoshino goes down, right? And it really is these teams that seemingly have total victory, it's going to be a blowout, and they overcommit into bad situations. And that's where you can pull off some amazing comebacks. Here, we're going to just smoke up again, right? We're low HP, but we still have the ability to influence the game from a smoke. So this is something that destroyers and certain cruisers can take advantage of. But even if you don't have a smoke, or you're not a daring where you have a ton of these short duration smoke screens, you can take advantage of island cover. There's so many maps in this game that have really, really solid island cover for any number of ships. I've used island cover in battleships. When I'm low HP at the end of a game, I can still be effective in a battleship by hiding behind an island, preventing myself from being spotted and killed off, while still bringing my guns in to support the team, hopefully helping win some engagements into the late game. Something that a lot of cruisers can do a little better, of course, and destroyers, because they just have worse gun arcs. So the shells are a little floatier, they get up in the air more, and you can use more islands, right? These taller ones, you can still make use of them. And this is a great example here. We don't have a smoke, but we wait until the Conqueror is behind this island. This is a great technique that you can use in a lot of different ships. If the enemy is seemingly pushing out from behind a rock, you can kind of sort of push behind that same rock he's pulling out from, and you get this weird situation where you're able to stay dark while also being able to shoot him, because of course you're leading in front of a ship. And that's also a really, really solid tactic to use. The Shimakaze jumps us, but unfortunately there is no time to see who would win that engagement. Probably the Shima. It's really only 2 salvos that he would really need to kill us, but we pulled it back, 175k. It still is a really good game, but I did make a huge, huge error, and I still came back from it. Not all of them look like this. Some of those errors just simply end in my ship sinking, and I'm back in port. And others end up in just mediocre games. But this one, I made a huge error and still had a really solid game. So I hope you enjoyed this one. And to just quickly talk about the commander, yeah, we're going for a gun build here, right? It's really not much of a surprise on a daring, but I'm also taking a lot of survivability. You'll notice I have both superintendent and survivability expert. Sometimes you can drop one of these and then you can take something like Fearless Brawler to really get that DPM up. But for me, I really like the extra healing and survivability of Superintendent and Survivability Expert, allowing me to play later into some of these games, and it allows for me to be a bad player every once in a while and make those huge errors. And I actually managed to live. Perhaps without Survivability Expert, maybe not Superintendent, we don't live as long there. And that really is the value of those two upgrades, especially on destroyers. As far as the modules, it's a gun build, right? We're still taking concealment, but maximizing guns as much as possible. No propulsion on the British destroyers, so of course we're going steering gears instead. We want that extra maneuverability, but Daring really is an excellent ship, and honestly, it's a good ship for people wanting to learn how to play DDs. You can see just how much of a mistake you can make and still have a good match. So thank you very much for watching, and I hope you have a great rest of your day.